Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a fantastic day. We're taking a look here at Bitcoin, and I hope you're enjoying the volatility. It's actually doing very good things if you have short positions open like we do, but also furthermore as well, we are starting to see that natural correction that I was hoping we would see a lot sooner than now. But it doesn't matter, what happened. We're here now, and we got to kind of figure out how much lower it might potentially go. There's no guarantees it's even going to go any lower, but this is kind of the start of the next kind of push, in my personal opinion, because we're getting a lot of resistance at these levels here, right there, that 21,300 range. Even though we've wicked up a few times, we are still definitely overextended. Okay, so we'll take a look at that and much more. And obviously, if you are new to the channel, keep in mind I love teaching people to trade. I hope you can learn here something. Obviously, to become a better trader, that's the whole point. But if you do want kind of join my community, just know we've taken some healthy profits here recently. 54% from Ethereum. That was this morning, as a matter of fact. I woke up to that. Litecoin at 58% and near 86. These are short. Targets, of course, at 20x leverage. So just keep in mind, awesome stuff going on there, as well as some really good trades for my community. So keep up the good work, guys. Super proud of you, and just love all the progress that you're making here. And as you can see, we're all using different exchanges, but my personal favorite is Bitget. They provide us with a $10,000 prize pool monthly. So it's really nice to be able to have this option here. If you can kind of see 10,000 per month. And what you do is to qualify for it, essentially, all you need to do is have, a decent profit and loss ratio or buy trading volume. So nice little extra bonus there just for trading on, in my opinion, the best exchange in the world. Okay, so again, be sure to check that out in your own time. And obviously, if you might have seen that, there is basically a disclaimer that pops up if you are inside the country. In other words, the United States or whatever restricted countries might also be listed. You get 3 months free with ExpressVPN. You will need to use a VPN. So if you want to use the link in the description below, I partnered with them recently. And I've been using them for years, so it's really, really cool to be able to have them on our side here as a community. So Bitget and ExpressVPN, nice combination for the win there. So speaking of win, again, all those nice trades we've taken here so far are coming to a head in a positive way, right? We're getting some nice short positions, but how much lower can the price go? That's kind of the question we need to answer. And again, it hasn't gone dramatically low, but we did have a pretty significant candlestick here, a candle wick that shot straight down and has corrected itself since, right at the 21,000 mark. But for lack of better terms, we're seeing some signs here that it's going to probably continue. Once again, because this capitulation is just starting, we can see the RSI is starting to taper off. And as I mentioned before, you can only sustain an RSI above 70, yet alone close to 90 for so long. Okay, it's been overextended for a long time. As we can see here, TD sequential, we're about 7 or 8 days into this extreme overtime here. So we should have pulled back somewhere in this range here, consolidated before the next leg up. We wouldn't be having this potential correction here, but generally speaking, that's where we're at now. Okay, so again, all things are kind of pointing down here because we're starting to lose our momentum as well. And the only other saving grace, potential saving grace, keep this in mind, is the moving average, the 200-day SMA, right there at about 19.5, 19.6. So that puts us right at the 1.618 Fibonacci retracement level of 19,700. Bear in mind, I'm using round numbers here, but the 19.6 to 19.7 range should work as a nice support level. Okay, so just keep that in mind. We're looking pretty decent there in that regard, as far as that being the potential target in the near future if we were to come back down and bounce. That to me seems like a likely bouncing point between 19.7 and 20,000. Also, furthermore, as well, when it comes to the CME gap here, keep in mind this will get filled eventually. It got half filled so far, and it's just a matter of time. And I think I got a question on my comments yesterday, just asking, how long, how long does it take to fill that gap? Well, sometimes it can go really quick. Sometimes it can go really short. In other words, it takes a long time, or sometimes it happens overnight. Honestly, the CME gaps, there's no guarantee of how soon they'll be filled, but I feel like it will get filled based on the fact that we're extremely overextended going into it, right? That makes sense to me in the overall sense of things. So again, no guarantees there, but I'm fairly confident right now we will see at the least 20,000 in the relative near future. Hopefully this will continue down lower and just bounce nicely off that 200-day SMA. That's my goal. Because at that point, we can consider long positions. To me, I would like to see a nice long right there about 19.7. So I'll just go ahead and add a little bit of an alert here for us, so I can get notified if we cross that plane. All right, so that's the daily. All right, so daily looks still fairly ominous. It's definitely looking that this correction will continue. Taking a look at the 4 hour here, of course, Not a tremendous amount of information can be extracted here, except for the fact that we're coming down closer to 50. So there's a chance we might see a bounce off this 20,500 range. That could work as a tentative support. But the bottom line is that we are still diverging on the MACD here in the 4-hour. Okay, so gaining that momentum, pushing down. It does make sense for the price to continue lower from here. But once again, that's not, we're hitting some potential support ranges, and that could actually hold, at least initially. We lost the 20. We're coming down to the 50, and at this point, all in all, the 4-hour does look like it wants to continue to go lower. If we were to just say close under 21,000 today, I think that's a pretty stark reality that we're going to continue lower. All right, so because it does look like that level there is having some strong resistance for the moment with the price getting pushed down below it. It is having difficulty getting past that plane. You can see it kind of wicks up here, getting rejected. So to me, I think 21,000, a closure above or below that, could kind of help us understand what direction Bitcoin wants to go. Because we still haven't officially made higher lows yet, right? Or sorry, lower lows rather. It's almost parallel in a sense, just slightly higher. So until we can get some lower lows and some lower highs, there's a good chance that we're not going to, we still can't just assume the price is going to come down because of that, right? But again, the macro, the big picture is telling us that we are due for a correction. So why wouldn't it come down any further? Again, that's just pure speculation, of course, but if you look at the amount of volume we have at this price point, we're starting to accumulate a decent amount of volume. Obviously, there's a lot down there at the 17,000 range, but there's a big gap here. As you can kind of see in the recent relative past, we can see a gap between 19.6 and right there at 20,500. That coincidentally is very much concurrent with that CME gap that I discussed yesterday's video and also highlighted here today. So just know that we're not in a great position right now. I wouldn't expect the price just to bounce back and come up. I do feel like this is kind of the start of this continuation to the downside. And here's another reason why I feel that way. Because I mentioned yesterday, if we were to close above 21,300, we would have potential for further upside. The reason why that was necessary is because we would have closed above the cloud and inevitably had that continuation to the upside. Instead, lagging span is now free and clear of the price action, and the conversion line, as best I can see, is below the baseline. Okay, so those two things plus the price action currently being underneath the cloud is a positive sign to the downside. Okay, in other words, if you take a look here, obviously this upper and lower lead are now working as a resistance. You can see that the hourly candle came up and got rejected and turned right around. Okay, so again, we're not out of the woods yet by any stretch as far as the position coming down further, but it's a very, very good start. And usually, if you can close below the cloud for a good 2 to 4 hours, in my opinion, you're pretty good shape. And we're about 2 hours in right now. So that leads me to believe that the immediate time frame we're going to start seeing 21,000 work as a resistance. So 21,000 to 21,300 should be that resistance shelf. And that should essentially work as a catalyst to push the price action down further to establish those lower highs and those lower lows. So it seems more likely than not that this is kind of the beginning of this correction. Unless there's some kind of amazing fundamental catalyst that causes the price to shoot up, we should experience that to come down. Traditional markets as well, we can recognize a correction there too. So those are all things that kind of correlate together. And in turn, as I mentioned to my community, kind of gave them a heads up that, hey, a lot of alts are going to get hit 2 to 3x. Well, we can see some pretty significant corrections from these traditional, these coins, the top 100 coins. And, it all kind of comes from here. So if you've been watching my Gala videos, I mentioned be very, very careful with Bitcoin being on a razor's edge. We will definitely see a correction from a lot of altcoins quite significantly, 2 to 3x, or in this case, almost 4x for Gala. So any coin that's overextended is going to be hit hard right now. So if you are in some alts right now, it wouldn't be a terrible idea to consider taking some profit, maybe let the rest ride if you want. Depends on the overall position and what you're planning to do. But to me, right now, this does feel like the beginning of the end as far as continuation, or just the end of the initial increase. And if all goes well, we just come down, we start making lower highs and lower lows, and eventually correct that behavior right around that 19.7, 19.5 mark. That's the area that I'm going to start, that I'm expecting to see some type of support based on previous moving averages and just general Fibonacci retracement levels. 0.618 levels are always very strong. All right, so that's kind of where we're at there. Hopefully this made sense for you, and I didn't, over explain things, but generally speaking, I look forward to, continue to profit as a community. So thank you again so much for your patience. I recognize some of you might have gotten a little impatient, pulled out of your trades, but that does happen sometimes. It's easy to get scared when you got this strong, a lot of strength in the market, and we haven't seen this in a while. So by no means are we, out of the woods yet, but we're also showing a lot of strength. A lot of new money's coming in the market too. So I wouldn't expect a correction down to the 14 or 15,000 mark as people are expecting or anticipating, unless we have some kind of super strong SEC potential issues on the horizon. Then we should be fine to see a natural correction for Bitcoin. Worst case scenario, maybe the 18.5 range there to go ahead and bounce off that previous resistance. So I think we're in good shape though. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you had a good learning experience once again. Look forward to working with you if you want to become a better trader. CryptoCash.tech is the site. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you soon.